Greetings and welcome to another Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team video, where today I'm going over the updated Scout Squad rules for Kill Team 3rd edition. But before we go into things, thanks goes to Games Workshop for providing these rules to review. And please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you think of the changes. And remember, I've got a Discord you can check out for free in the episode description below, an affiliate link at Element Games, and a Patreon if you want to give me some more support as well. And before we get into things, please remember, everything I say in the audio is correct, because I'm reading the correct rules. The stuff you see on screen is stuff I've typed up myself, which usually has abridged wording because I couldn't even fit it all. I was just very tired. So there may be some minor errors, but everything I say in the audio is correct. So with that out of the way, let's get on with the review. For the roster, your archetypes are Infiltration and Recon, which is unchanged, so that's pretty good. For your roster size, you have 1 leader and 8 operatives. So this kill team has lost an operative, at least for now. It could maybe change in a day 1 FAQ, but we'll see. So operative wise, you have your scout sergeant, who can either have a shotgun, bolt gun, or bolt pistol and chainsword. Then you've got 8 other operatives you can take, which is a heavy gunner with heavy bolter, heavy gunner with missile launcher, hunter, sniper, tracker, and then warriors that can either have an Astarte shotgun, bolt gun, or bolt pistol and combat blade. So apart from losing an operative again after gaining an operative, everything there is the same. For your faction rules, you have the forward scouting rules. So at the end of the setup operative step, you can select and resolve up to 5 forward scouting options. Each option has a number in brackets, which is the number of times you can select and resolve it for the battle. For example, if you had 5 selections, you could resolve reposition twice, triple arm once, booby trap once, and diversion once. If both players have this rule, alternate resolving selection by selection, starting with the player that has initiative. These have changed slightly. So first you have redeploy, which you can do once. Change the setup of 1/3 of your operatives rounding up. So usually 3 operatives. If you go up to 10, it'll be 4 operatives. But okay, better if you're the defender and deploying first. Then you've got reposition, which you can select twice. Perform a free reposition action with 1 friendly operative that's wholly within your drop zone, and it must end that move within 3 inches of your drop zone. Then you've got triple arm, which you can select twice. Place one of your triple arm markers more than 6 inches from your opponent's drop zone. During the first and second turning point, whenever a friendly scout squad operative is shooting an enemy operative that's within 2 inches of that marker, that friendly ranged weapons have the seek weapon rule. In the ready operative step of the 3rd strategy phase, you move. So this has changed. It used to be if someone moves into an enemy operative, they're flipped to engage until the start of their next activation, but it was bypassed by super conceal. It's still bypassed by super conceal, but you have more freedom in where you put this marker. You basically put it on the middle objective, and no matter what, you will have seek. So you don't have seek light, seek heavy, you have seek. So even if your opponent's behind heavy cover, you flip them. This is really powerful, and now you're always taking at least 1. Then you've got booby trap. Place one of your booby trap markers more than 6 inches from your opponent drop zone and more than 2 inches from other markers and access points. The first time your booby trap marker is within an enemy operative's control range, remove that marker and inflict 2d3 damage on that operative. If it is incapacitated, end its action, if any, even if that action's effects aren't fulfilled. And if it cannot be placed, move the minimum amount to do so. So this has been changed, similar to the Harnkin Jaeger. It now just happens. You don't have to roll anything. They immediately take 2d3 damage and then stop their action. So it's actually pretty good. It's better on boards with choke points like Vocus, but otherwise it's really nice. Then you've got diversion. So once per battle, you can select it once. As a strategic gambit, select 1 enemy operative that's within 6 inches of a kill zone edge until the end of the operative's next activation. Subtract 1 from its APL. So this has actually been buffed. Before, you picked anyone after deployment. Now you can delay this. So you could save this for turning point 2, 3, or 4, or use it in turning point 1. The good thing is it says any kill zone edge, and you just have to be within, not wholly within. So you could pick your opponent's kill zone edge or the left and right flanks. Generally, you're deploying this turning point 1 or 2, but the fact you can now use it turning point 2 is really, really good. Obviously, you don't take it against teams that are immune to APL's changes, but it's very nice. Then you've got Devise Plan, which you can select once. You gain 1 CP. This is unchanged. You always take this. And you've got Designate Target, which you select once. Select 1 enemy operative to gain 1 of your target tokens. Whenever a friendly operative is shooting against, fighting, or retaliating against an enemy operative that has 1 of your target tokens, you can reroll 1 of your attack dice. This is very, very good. It just gives you balance. Then you've got Spy for 1. Well, you can select it once. In approved ops only, your opponent must reveal their selected tac op. Now you may think this is not too great, but considering the new way to play approved ops is all about control, trying to not let your opponent score their tac ops easily and playing around all that, you're probably not using this, but I think really good scout control players are going to probably use this to figure out on teams they don't know what archetype they're taking, like in terms of what kind of tac op they're taking. It's very situationally good, but it's probably something you're not using, but it's a nice addition regardless. For strategy ploys, you have guerrilla engagement. Whenever an enemy operative is shooting a friendly scout squad operative, if that friendly operative is in cover and more than 6 inches from enemy operative is visible to, you can reroll one of your defense dice. It's okay, but not great. Then you've got gunfire ambush. Whenever a friendly operative is shooting during its activation, if its order was changed from to conceal to engage at the start of that activation, or if it wasn't visible to enemy operatives at the start of that activation, the friendly operatives' ranged weapons have the balance special rule, but if the target is expended, they have ceaseless instead. So now you don't have to just switch from conceal to engage. If you start outside of visibility, it procs as well. So this has been buffed and is really, really good. It's still better at targeting expended operatives, but that's more for the elite matchup. Otherwise, it's great. Then you've got blade ambush. Whenever a friendly operative is fighting during its activation, if its order was changed from conceal to engage at the start of that activation, or it wasn't visible to enemy operatives at the start of that activation, friendly operatives' melee weapons have the ceaseless weapon rule, and if the target is expended, your melee weapons also have the rending rule. So unchanged there, but still really, really useful. So you're usually popping gunfire and blade ambush during turning point 2 and 3 onwards. So nice there. Then you've got stealth relocation. Select one friendly scout squad operative more than 6 inches from enemy operatives. That friendly operative can immediately perform a free dash action, or you can change its order. You cannot use this ploy during the first turning point. Unchanged, but really good if you're activating last in the turning point. For example, you could like move out or dash out a heavy gunner, fire on engaged, then in the next turning point, spend a CP for them to dash back or change their order. So still really useful, especially if you're just slowly trying to chip away at the opponent or reposition. Very, very good. Then for firefight ploys, you have Astartes training. Use this firefight ploy during a friendly scout squad's activation. Until the end of that activation, that friendly operative can either perform 2 fight actions or 2 shoot actions if an Astartes shotgun, bolt pistol, or bolt gun is selected for at least one of them. This has been slightly nerfed. You can't double fire the heavy bolter, which is unfortunate, but otherwise it is unchanged, but annoyingly it has been nerfed. But this is useful when you've got a scout with free APL who can now just usually double fight if it's a knife fighter or double shoot if it's a shotgun. Then you've got raw physiology. Use this firefight ploy during a friendly operative's activation. Until the start of its next activation, you can ignore any changes to its stats from being injured, including weapon stats. So you just go like, I'm not injured today, you're going to die. Useful, but situational. Then you've got Emboldened Aspirant. Use this firefight ploy when a friendly operative performs a shoot or fight action at the end of the roll attack dice step. If it's the first friendly operative to perform either of those actions during the turning point, or if the enemy operative during that action has a higher wound stat than a friendly scout squad operative, that friendly operative's weapons have the severe weapon rule until the end of that action. So basically, if you roll any crits, you can spend a CP if it's the first one to activate, or you're fighting someone with more wounds to just turn. If you've got any hits, you will. If you don't roll any crits, you'll turn a normal into a crit. It's okay, but very situational. Then you've got Covert Position. So use this during a friendly operative's activation. Until the start of its next activation, while the operative has a conceal order and is in cover, it cannot be selected as a valid target, taking precedence over all other rules. So it's unchanged, it just gives you super conceal. It's really confusing they didn't just give the super conceal keywords, but otherwise unchanged and very good for moving up the board when needed. For operatives, you have the Scout Sergeant who's free APL, 6-inch move, 4-up save and 11 wounds. So everyone else has 10 wounds, he has 11. He has an Astartes shotgun and fists, or a bolt gun and fists. So the Astartes shotgun is 4 attacks, hitting on 2s, 4-4 range 6. And the bolt gun is 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, 3-4. And then the fists are 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, 3-4. And then he can also have a bolt pistol and chainsword. So the bolt pistol is 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, 3-4 range 8, used to be range 6. And the chainsword is 5 attacks, hitting on 3s, 4-5. So he did used to hit on 2s with everything. He only hits on 2s with the shotgun, but he also lost balance from his shotgun, which is a weird nerf there. Very, very strange, but to compensate from that, you still have guidance and experience. So once during each of this operative's activations, you can select one other friendly scout operative visible to it to gain +1 APL until the end of their activation. But he also has the Astartes rule. So he now, because he's basically a space marine, he can double fight or double shoot for free. And remember, if he's double shooting, he has to use at least a bolt weapon once or an Astartes shotgun. So you've lost your accuracy, technically, but you've got baked in double fight, double shoot. You used to spend a CP for this. So unfortunately, the scout, like the hitting on twos thing, changes universal wide, but I think they should have kept it for basic weapons like bolt guns. If you could still select the bolt gun hitting on twos, I would probably go bolt gun all the time. Now, I'm not really a fan. You probably want the shotgun or the chainsword, and probably the chainsword most of the time. It's really annoying the shotgun lost its balanced profile as well. You know, even though you've got gunfire ambush, it's just very strange. But otherwise, because you now always double fight and double shoot for free, he's really, really good. For the heavy gunner, 2 APL, 6-inch move, 4 up save, 10 wound. So that's the baseline profile. It always has a bolt pistol, which is 4 attacks in on freeze, 3-4. Everyone has a bolt pistol. And has fists, which are 3 attacks in on freeze, 3-4. So it can either have a heavy bolter or missile launcher. So the heavy bolter focus profiles 5 attacks, hitting on freeze, 4-5, heavy dash only, piercing crits 1. And then the sweeping profile, which is 4 attacks, hitting on freeze, 4-5, heavy dash only, piercing crits 1, torrent 1. Just okay. Then you've got the missile launcher, which is frag, 4 attacks, hitting on freeze, 3-5, blast 2, heavy dash only. And then the missile launcher crack, which is 4 attacks, hitting on freeze, 5-7, heavy dash only, piercing 1. It's fine. I guess you still take these. The heavy bolt has definitely got nerfed because you can only fire once with it now. I'd probably only take one of these at most, and probably not even then. It's a very unfortunate change, but your heavy gunners unfortunately aren't that useful, especially as they can only dash when they fire their gun. They can't even heavy reposition. I guess because they're not full Astartes yet, but it's just disappointing. Then you've got your hunter, who has a bolt pistol, which is 4 attacks, hitting on freeze, 3-4, range 8, and then a combat blade, which is 4 attacks, hitting on freeze, 3-5. Huh, that's not 4-6. It has a grapnel launcher, so whenever this operative is climbing, treat the vertical distance as 2 inches, regardless of how far it moves vertically, which is nice. Built-in climbing gear, better climbing gear. Then you've got grapnel assault. Whenever this operative performs a charge action during its activation, if it climbs, drops, jumps, or has its base move underneath a vantage terrain during the action, its melee weapons have the lethal free-up weapon roll until the end of that activation. So once again, if he does a backflip, he goes, "My blades are energized," and then he hits you. So amazing, always. The Scout Hunter is amazing. Very, very good, even though he's no longer 4-6. And the fact that now even if he jumps, he just goes like, YOLO, here we go. Very, very good. Always take the Scout Hunter. Then you've got the Scout Sniper, who has a bolt pistol and fists, and then the Sniper Rifle with either mobile or stationary. The mobile profile is 4 attacks, hitting on freeze, 3-4, and then the stationary profile is 4 attacks, hitting on twos, 3-3, devastating, 3 heavy, silent. So automatically has permanent silent, which is very good and very rare, but it can't do anything after it shoots. It's just stuck there. You have the camo cloak ability, so ignore the saturate weapon rule from enemy operatives, and if you can retain any cover saves, you can retain 1 additional cover save or 1 as a crit, but it doesn't stack with vantage. And then it has the optics action, so until the start of this operative's next activation, whenever it's shooting, enemy operatives cannot be obscured, and you cannot do well in control range. So very, very good. I believe the optics has been buffed, so now it just lasts way longer, which is really good when you're trying to counteract and stuff. Then you've got the tracker, who has a bolt gun, which is 4 attacks, hitting on freeze, 3-4, and fist, which is 3 attacks, hitting on freeze, 3-4. Then it has track enemy. Select 1 expended enemy operative within 8 inches of this operative. Until the end of the turning point, whenever a friendly operative is shooting that enemy operative, that friendly operative's ranged weapons have the Seek Light weapon rule, which is really, really good. But you do have to select an expended enemy operative within 8. You also have All-Spec Scan for 1 AP until the start of this operative's next activation, until it's incapacitated, whichever comes first. Whenever a friendly operative is shooting an enemy operative within 8 inches of this operative, that enemy operative cannot be obscured. If that friendly operative is also a sniper that's currently benefiting from the optics action, its ranged weapons also have the Seek Light weapon rule. and you cannot do both while in control range. So the way this synergizes with the sniper is if the sniper's already got or about to shoot, what you can do with the tracker is like move and then pop Auspex scan. So when your sniper is about to shoot and using the optics rule, they have seek light, which is very useful. So nice combination there. It has lost a little bit of an effectiveness because it used to just pick anyone in light and visibility to not be obscured. So you have to get a lot closer with him. I think it would have probably been better with a 12-inch range aura, but regardless, he's still useful. Then you've got the Scout Warrior, who can either have the Astartes shotgun and fists, bolt gun and fist, or bolt pistol and combat blade. So the shotgun is 4 attacks, 8 on 2s, 4/4, range 6. The bolt pistol is 4 attacks, 8 on 3s, 3/4. The bolt gun is 4 attacks, 8 on 3s, 3/4. Obviously the bolt pistol has a range of 8, and then the fists are 3 attacks, 8 on 3s, 3/4. And the combat blade is 4 attacks, 8 on 3s, 3/5. And then you've got the adaptive equipment rule. You can do the following once per turning point. So one friendly Scout Squad warrior can perform the smoke grenade action, and one friendly warrior can perform the stun grenade action, and they don't count towards your universal equipment or from performing these actions again. So if you already have, like, you know, 2 stun grenades and you use the free stun grenade, that won't affect it. So your Scout warriors, considering you're usually taking at least 3, is very useful because 2 of them, at least every turning point, can throw a smoke or a stun grenade, which is very, very useful. It means you have more equipment to spend stuff on, and potentially you could have now 3 stun grenades or 3 smoke grenades, so very useful. For faction equipment, you have the camo cloak, so whenever an operative is shooting a friendly Scout Squad operative, excluding the sniper, if you can retain any cover saves, you can retain 1 additional cover save, and it's not cumulative with the vantage rule, so it's nice it's just on everyone if you expect yourself to be in a shootout. Then you've got combat blades and knives, so for an equipment point, friendly Scout operatives have the following melee weapon. So they have a combat blade, which is 3 attacks, 8 on 3s, 3/5, but more importantly, friendly Scout Squad hunter and warrior operatives that already have combat blades change their combat blades to 4 attacks, 8 on 3s, 4/5. So effectively you're spending an equipment point to give everyone blades now, so they go from 3/4 to 3/5, but if they're also already armed with knives, they go from 3/5 to 4/5, and they retain their 4 attacks if they already had 4 attacks. Otherwise they're at 3 attacks. So knives obviously have been nerfed. They're no longer 4/6, and they no longer like give you all this amazing thing. They're okay, right? They're more balanced. They're much better at 4/5, and you're probably taking combat knives anyway. So it is a nerf, but they're still useful because everyone gets combat blades now. Then you've got the heavy weapon bipod. Whenever a friendly Scout Squad heavy gunner operative is shooting with a heavy bolter or missile launcher, if it hasn't moved during the activation or counteraction, that weapon has the ceaseless weapon rule. If this weapon already had that rule, it has the relentless rule instead. Note that the operative isn't restricted from moving after shooting, so you can move after you shoot, so it's very, very nice. It's useful that now applies to the missile launcher as well, but I don't know if you're going to take both heavy gunners. You're probably taking one, and you might not even take the other. And then you've got targeting oculars, so once per turning point when a friendly operative is performing the shoot action and you're selecting a valid target, you can use this rule. If you do so until the end of that action, that friendly ranged operative weapons have the saturate weapon rule. So it's okay, but I don't know if you will take it. It's probably useful on Vulcus, but most of the time you're taking combat blades, maybe the heavy weapon bipods, and then you're just taking other equipment, probably 2 crack grenades, something like that. Your equipment's okay. It's not great, but it's better than being horrible. So overall, it's fine. For the operative selection, this is where it comes a bit flux. If you had 10 Scout models, I probably wouldn't throw one away because it might change back to 10. But for now, with your leader, you always take the leader with the chainsword, in my opinion. Maybe the shotgun. I am not a fan of the bolt gun anymore, considering it no longer hits on 2s. But if you want the bolt gun, it's still fine. And then you still build all the specialists. But generally, I actually don't run the specialists. I usually run the hunter, sniper, tracker, and then 4 other warriors. You could run a heavy gunner, probably the missile launcher, and the 3 warriors. So you could run like 3 shotguns and a missile launcher, or like 1 warrior with a knife. And you may actually want to drop the tracker instead. It's going to come down to experimentation, but it also does come a bit weirder if you also then gain a 10th operative, because that might change. But the main loser here is the bolt gun leader, and especially as you can't double shoot with the heavy bolter, it's not really that good, which is just disappointing. you're probably only taking the missile launcher now. And because if you have the bipod and you switch for you use gunfire ambush and you're shooting at someone instead of having ceaseless, you'll have relentless. If you could just double shoot with the heavy bolter for a CP, I would take the heavy bolter. But because you can't, you're probably stocking up on warriors, and you want to build warriors with shotguns and combat blades. But hopefully that helps. Regardless, you're probably going to need to buy 5 extra scouts if you want that for the full flexibility. For the kill team overview for the scout squads, they definitely have gotten weaker, but it might change if we get a day 1 FAQ that buffs them up to 10 wounds. At the moment, I actually do generally think they're very good at 9 operatives, and 10 operatives might push them over the edge. You do have to live with the fact your knives are no longer power weapons and they're 4.5 instead of 4.6. But hopefully that doesn't change. If that changes, oh my gosh, please don't. But they're a bit more flexible. Your leader can double fire and double shoot for free. You can't double fire the heavy bolter. But your operatives now all have knives, so everyone's 3.5 if you spend it, and your knives are 4.5. They play infiltration really well, in my opinion, and also, but they're probably taking recon all the time, because recon's really good for this kill team as well. They're not as like punishing if you have a bad turning point 1, instead of like relying on turning point 1 with this kill team. They can't be as like much of a stat check when they were 10 operatives. And if you were playing your scouts to just run into your opponent's face and just laugh, you're going to have to adapt. You're going to have to learn to use that brain a little bit more. But I still think they're really good, and their scouting options have been improved, their forward scouting options. So they have way more use for them. Like the mine is a lot better. You've got more use when you want to use that -1 APL. They're very more flexible and reward more planning. So that's what you're going to have to invest in, I'm afraid. I still think they're really solid. They're no longer as dominating as they were before. They're a little bit harder to play, but they're still pretty good in my opinion. But that's pretty much it from me today. Please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you thought of this review. How do you find the new scouts? Do you think they might get a day 1 FAQ going up to 10 operatives and maybe changing the knives? Let me know. And remember, I've got a Discord you can check out for free in the episode description below, an affiliate link at Lemon Games, and a Patreon if you want to give me some more support. And I'll quickly shout out my patrons. So for my adepts of the crit, I have Tom, Supercow, Steven, Sam, Nick, Mr. Meatwad, Mercenary Q, Lucas, John Thomas, Graham, Fangzu, Dave Meets World, Dad of Goldens, Chris, and then for my veterans of the crit, I have Sam, Joe, and Ryan. So thank you so much for all your support. It really means a lot to me and helps support the channel. But as you can tell, my voice is starting to go because this is video free, and I have 3 more videos to do. So we'll see what happens. I might not be able to get 3 videos out on Sunday, but we'll see. But I think the scouts are very interesting. You're going to have to play smarter unless they go up to 10 operatives again, and then it's just scout rushdown mode and everyone's suffering. But until then, every time you're playing a scout, you always have a chance to win as long as you can roll a crit.